Hello and welcome to Every Rock Has a Story. For today's story, I wanted to talk about a huge volcano. And I wanted to talk about the fuel that powers that volcano. Just a few weeks ago was the 40-year anniversary of one of the biggest volcanic eruptions in the United States. And it was this one, Mount St. Helens. You can find pictures like that. Mount St. Helens was a huge, almost 10,000 foot mountain in Washington state, and it exploded sideways. That's a real picture of it exploding sideways. Huge eruption, blasted down trees and houses and covered huge areas with ash. It was one of the biggest eruptions in the history of the United States. And so I thought today we could talk about a rock that tells us the story of the fuel, the power behind the biggest volcanic eruptions. The rock I want to show you is this one right here. I'll bring it a little bit closer in a bit, but you might even be able to tell from there. It's got a bit of a blue color, kind of a pale powder blue color, and that's a hint as to the name of this rock. This rock is called blue schist. Blue schist because it has that beautiful blue color. And I want to bring it up closer to you now. This is the rock I'll tell you about. You can see all that beautiful powder blue color. And there's two other things I want you to see in this rock. One are those little bitty red, very dark red dots. Those are garnets. They're very small garnets, smaller than the ones we talked about a couple videos ago. And there's also these whitish things here. They're kind of rectangular or diamond-shaped white things. And that's a mineral that I want to tell you about today. That mineral is called lawsonite. So this blue schist has garnet, lawsonite, and then the blue mineral is something called amphibole. But lawsonite is such an important mineral. Lawsonite is such an important mineral because it is another water mineral. Just like the serpentine had all that water in it, lawsonite has almost as much. What if I told you that this rock used to be plain old basalt? Kind of like the basalt from Hawaii. This used to be plain old basalt. But it was subducted underneath the continent. The ocean went down. It got dragged down under the continent and through a huge trench called a subduction zone. And as it went down, it soaked up that water. Just like the serpentine is what you get when you soak up water into mantle rock. This blue schist is what you get when you soak up water into basalt. Well, this went down. It used to be in the seafloor, and it took all that water down, down, down. And soon the water was traded from the original minerals, and that ocean water ended up mostly in the lawsonite. The lawsonite is the little carrier, the little mineral carrier that brings the water down deep below the continents, down about here. Now, I told you this was going to be about volcano fuel. Volcano fuel. How do you think this water can be volcano fuel? Well, if you think about it, a lot of the biggest volcanoes are right here, right above those deep subducting trenches like Mount St. Helens or Mount Fuji or other big volcanoes around the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire. And they're all fed by water. In fact, what happens to this rock as it goes down deep enough, a little bit deeper than this one went, that lawsonite breaks down and other water minerals break down and they release their water up into the mantle here. And that water melts the mantle and it fills it up with water and gas and then it explodes at the surface. So water is the fuel for the explosive volcanoes that we find all around the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire is around the Pacific. In Asia and Alaska and North and South America is the Ring of Fire. This rock wasn't collected from there, though. To collect this rock that experienced those deep subduction conditions and then somehow found its way back up so we could use it to tell that story. This rock was collected from Greece, and this was collected on another one of those National Science Foundation expeditions that I've been on, and I'm going to show you some pictures. So, there again is our picture of Mount St. Helens. Now that's in Washington, but the fuel for it comes from deep underneath. We can't collect the deep rocks under Washington, but we can go to a place like Greece, there. And there's all my friends from the National Science Foundation expedition right on the island of Syros in Greece. There's some more of my friends. The water was blue and green, and the rocks were blue and green too. Look at that beautiful green rock in the background, and some stripes of blue and white rock here. Beautiful to see. There's my friend Philippe. You heard about him in video number 14. And there he is looking at some swirl of blue and green rocks. Those are the water rocks that tell us the story of bringing the water down and then releasing it. There is a blue schist. Look at that steely blue color, and then see those white rectangular or diamond-shaped minerals. That is lawsonite. Those are big, beautiful lawsonites. So we went on this NSF expedition to collect these blue schists and to learn about the lawsonite and the other minerals that carry all that water down, so we could figure out when that water gets released, how much water gets released into the mantle, and how much melting that water can create and how explosive it can make the volcanoes blow. The other interesting thing for me, you might have figured out if you've watched all my videos, my favorite mineral is garnet. And you know I like big garnets. These garnets are little bitty. It turns out that garnets grow after the water gets released, or really during the release of that water. So if we can collect the right garnets, those garnets will preserve the story of that water fuel of the great volcanic eruptions of the world. And that is why we are studying blue schists with garnet and lawsonite from places like Greece. I hope you like this story, and I hope I see you at my next story, which will also tell us more about deep subduction of the ocean and what happens when it goes down, down, down. Bye-bye.